Across America, elite teams of FBI agents are on a mission to hunt down the most wanted criminals in the country. Every day they put their lives at risk to save yours. This is law enforcement to the extreme. This is FBI takedowns. An anticipated crowd of over 2,000 marchers from all across Spokane gathers for the city's annual Martin Luther King Jr. Unity Parade. It is a very crisp day. The sun shines brightly overhead. It is a beautiful day. Hundreds of people stream into the area, heading toward the convention center in downtown Spokane. People arrive at the march greeting old friends, their voices filled with growing excitement. This is a march about people helping people. The region carries a painful history with violent racists, yet there is a deep, collective desire to leave that darkness in the past, to see it finally over. The community has rallied against it, galvanized in ways that have truly tamped down some of those strong anti-government white supremacist beliefs. With any large public gathering these days, there is always an effort to identify potential threats, to ask if anyone has heard or seen anything unusual. On this day, nothing had reached them. There was no pre-warning. There was no chatter. There was no threat stream suggesting an attack would be launched. Outside the convention center area where the parade is set to begin, a cleaning crew moves calmly through their work, prepping the space for the day's event. They head out for maintenance and groundskeeping, picking up leaves and debris across the parking lot. The three of them work their way to the corner of Main and Washington, right in front of the convention center. Quentin opens the backpack resting on the bench. He pulls out some t-shirts, then something inside stops him cold. His face goes utterly blank. The look of genuine shock and almost palpable fear is unmistakable. Whoa, what do we do now? He calls 911. I work for the city, and I'm at the convention center. I'm cleaning up in the parking lot at Main, and there's a black bag here with wires in it and stuff. It looks like it could be a bomb. We're going to leave it right there until you get here. The dispatcher answers, I know it's Martin Luther King Day. I'll let them know. I want you to stay on the line with me, though. As they wait, Trevor and his co-workers do the only thing that feels right. They form a protective triangle around the corner, gently telling approaching people, hey, you probably don't want to come this way. To their lasting credit, they create a human perimeter with nothing but their own bodies, shielding the hundreds still streaming in for the parade. They could have run. They could have backed away block after block. They stayed. When Spokane police arrive, the radio crackles. We have a confirmed explosive device on scene over here. Their first priority is protecting the parade goers. They do a remarkable job establishing a security perimeter so no one can get close to the device. Just as importantly, they quickly identify an alternate route, allowing the march to continue without spreading panic among the participants. Facing a terrorist threat at the heart of their city, Spokane police reach out to the world's foremost counterterrorism experts, the FBI. We're notified, and I realize my life from this moment on is going to change, Agent McQueen later recalls. The fact that the regional bomb squad called me, they don't call for just pipe bombs. They realized they had something. They'd seen wires, batteries, things like that, enough to make it suspicious. His first questions focus on how far along the bomb squad is and exactly what they are dealing with. He is debriefed by the lieutenant, speaks with the robot operator, and consults the safety officer already on site. Everyone understands the stakes. Still raw in their minds is the memory of a previous tragedy in which certified hazardous device technician William Hackala and Captain Tom Tennant of the Woodburn, Oregon Police Department approached a bomb that suddenly detonated, killing them both. Two heroes lost in the line of duty. As Agent McQueen works with the local bomb squad to develop a plan to neutralize the device, each man carries the quiet fear that this could be his final assignment. How far away can someone be and push a button and really ruin your day? One agent reflects. You're really thinking, we've got this one device. Are there other devices someone's going to set up while you're walking up to check the trash cans, the cars? It's downtown. There are cars everywhere, trash cans everywhere, plenty of places to hide more bombs. Was this the small one or was this the main one? We don't know. For that reason, every car in the surrounding area is secured until the FBI and its partners can sweep them. Overseas, teams have seen it too many times. Secondary devices planted specifically to kill bomb technicians, command staff, and first responders trying to protect others. They have to search methodically for other devices before anyone can approach the backpack. They work car by car, person by person, witness by witness, gathering every possible detail while memories are still fresh. Because once people leave the scene, they become nearly impossible to find again. After a thorough secondary sweep turns up no second bomb, Agent McQueen and the Spokane bomb technicians turn their full attention to the backpack. They deploy a bomb disposal robot to photograph the device. At that point, the way this device was tucked inside a backpack and wrapped in several layers of t-shirts and duct tape, we really couldn't get a clear picture of what we were dealing with. They blast the backpack with a high-pressure water cannon. The force rips it open, exposing the bomb's inner workings. The robot then begins carefully tearing the layers apart. Inside, agents see an approximate 5-inch metal tube, strong indication of a mortar-style device. A backpack packed with 30 pounds of explosives carries a lethal range of several blocks. Once the robot has done everything it safely can, the most dangerous part of the mission begins. A human explosives technician must walk down range for the final visual confirmation that the device has been safely separated. "You're always trying to do your job the safest way possible," the technician explains, "but at some point it takes a human being walking down there to do the final look and confirm it's been rendered safe. No one is certain the device won't still detonate. No one knows whether the bomber is still out there, perhaps 200 meters away, finger on a remote trigger, waiting for the moment a bomb tech steps into range." After several hours have passed since the city workers first discovered the device, the explosives technician moves in, fully aware the IED could explode at any second. "The reality is that at some point you have to cut some wires," he says quietly. "Hopefully you're cutting the right ones, and you've already disabled it so you can make it perfectly safe." He succeeds in cutting the wires believed to be part of the initiation system and safely separates the pieces of the mortar. To be absolutely certain, the team sends the robot back in for additional photographs. What they reveal is chilling. The bomber had packed the device with lead fishing weights intended as deadly shrapnel. That is only half of the horror. The robot lifts a few of the weights. The Spokane hazmat team notices an unusual green substance coating them, something none of them has ever seen before. They don full level A protective suits with complete bioprotection and respiratory gear. Is it poison, a radiological substance, a biological agent? They are trained to prepare for the worst-case scenario and to shield the public from it. When the detector registers a positive hit, the atmosphere grows even more tense. The hazmat crew collects samples of the green substance. The rest of the shrapnel is carefully decontaminated with a chlorine bleach solution to neutralize any possible biological threat. Agents Cleary and Butler soon identify the grotesque ingredients of the bomber's concoction: rat poison, an anticoagulant, mixed with what appears to be marshmallow cream as a sticky binder, then coated in fecal matter. The rat poison was meant to keep victims' wounds from clotting so they would bleed out. The fecal matter on the shrapnel was intended to cause severe, dangerous infections in anyone who survived long enough to reach a hospital. He wanted to injure and kill as many people as possible. He simply did not care. He had aimed the mortar inside the bomb to blast the deadly shrapnel directly into the crowd like a shotgun, placing everyone within several hundred feet in lethal danger. "This is a very sophisticated device," one agent says with grim respect. "This is a device someone took a great deal of care and interest in creating, a device that would kill not only through explosives but through shrapnel, chemicals, and biological substances. This is the worst device you can imagine." The bomber had built one final layer of treachery into his creation. The device included an antenna and a package wired to strong batteries, designed to be triggered by a car alarm, or in this case, a remote car starter. He could initiate it from a 200-meter standoff simply by pressing a button on a key fob. He wanted to watch the damage unfold. He wanted to witness the destruction. In his mind, he would have been able to walk through the killing field he had created, mission accomplished. It was clear to us at the scene, an agent reflects, that this device, although crude in appearance, was very sophisticated in its design, very devious in its design, and something none of us had ever seen inside the United States. The team caught a critical break when the city workers discovered the bomb in time. Now they can only hope their luck holds long enough to find the bomber before he has another chance. He is someone willing to commit mass murder, someone who invested far too much time and effort in this bomb to simply walk away. He is not going to stop. He will try again and again until they catch him. The universe of potential suspects is essentially unlimited. The FBI's task is to take that vast pool and steadily narrow it. One avenue is testing the feces found on the shrapnel. The sample is definitely human and could yield the bomber's DNA. But DNA analysis requires time they do not have. There are no eyewitnesses, no reports of anyone acting suspiciously. Buildings in the area, however, are equipped with security cameras. Agents begin the painstaking work of canvassing every business and structure nearby for usable footage. The immediate intersection itself yields no footage. Agents cannot tell whether the individual simply got lucky or had conducted prior surveillance to identify the blind spot. Agent Butler and his team review every frame of video they can obtain. They come up empty. Meanwhile, the bomb's remnants are sent to the FBI laboratory at Quantico, the world's most advanced forensic facility and a powerful weapon against terrorism. The pressure falls on Supervisory Special Agent Richard Sterling, who oversees the scientific investigation. It was a high-profile event at a very public gathering, targeting a specific audience, Sterling explains. We knew we had to devote significant resources and work around the clock to extract every possible piece of forensic information from the components: DNA analysis, latent fingerprints, trace evidence, hairs and fibers, firearms tool marks. When I saw the condition it was in, I knew we had a real chance. The most ordinary items in the backpack provide the first real lead. The T-shirts used both to protect the device and to conceal it inside the backpack trace back to Stevens County in northern Washington. Rural eastern Washington carries a different cultural texture than the western part of the state. A small fringe of white separatists and white supremacists has long existed in the region, a history stretching back decades. The Aryan nations, once based in nearby Idaho, spawned violent offshoots near Spokane. In the region's past, the Order, led by Bob Matthews, killed a Jewish DJ in Denver, robbed banks and armored cars, and was eventually brought down. Bob Matthews died in a standoff. The Kehoe brothers also founded an Aryan white supremacist group and carried out robberies and murders in furtherance of their ideology. A Martin Luther King Jr. parade would be a natural target for such violent racist elements. Even though this plot failed, the bomber now has the opportunity to try again. Some in the community feel a rising fear about what might come next, and who else could be planning something similar. Spokane has several major events on the horizon: the world's largest timed road race, Lilac Blooms Day, and Hoop Fest, the largest 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Both draw young, multicultural, multiracial crowds where backpacks are everywhere. The downtown streets become packed with athletes and spectators. Stopping someone from carrying something dangerous into the area would be nearly impossible. The attacker remains a profound concern. He has already demonstrated the ability to construct a deviously designed device and has shown a clear willingness to kill indiscriminately, men, women, and children alike, for a political purpose or to send a message. FBI agents caught a break once. Catching him again will require more than luck because the next major event is approaching. Spokane, like most large cities, hosts numerous big public gatherings. Everyone is on edge, wondering what could happen and whether another attack is imminent. To grasp just how devastating a successful strike on a public event can be, one need only remember the Boston Marathon bombing. 3 people were killed. Another 264 were seriously injured. Agents know this attacker is devious and likely highly intelligent. Above all, they know he will probably strike again. As the investigation continues, the first piece of good news arrives. The FBI lab lifts a fingerprint from the device itself found beneath a layer of tape. It is a very pristine print, easy to believe it belongs to whoever built or helped build the device. That is not the only breakthrough. The laboratory extracts a clean sample of DNA from the handle of the backpack, clearer than the mixed sample taken from the fishing weights. Analysis indicates it comes from a white Caucasian male. To turn that into actionable evidence, however, investigators need something to compare it against. They still have no suspect. Agents continue working every angle and hit repeated dead ends. They source components, interview hundreds of people, and establish a tip line. No viable leads emerge. They build a profile of the would-be bomber, someone harboring hatred toward people of other races and cultures. Although the FBI maintains solid source coverage within white supremacist and white separatist movements in eastern Washington, no intelligence had surfaced about this particular attempt. The working theory is that this is a lone wolf offender. A lone wolf, a zealot who answers to no white power organization, is far more dangerous and elusive. Experience shows that such individuals sometimes drift into groups seeking a sense of belonging, yet they ultimately cannot function within a group. They struggle to get along with others. They are action-oriented. They want to make something happen. They want to do something. The most promising path forward is to trace every component of the device. The batteries are a specific type, 2 of them, and relatively new. That suggests they were not sitting forgotten in someone's garage. Someone had purchased them recently. Each battery carries a long manufacturer's code on the bottom. When agents call to ask what the code signifies, they learn that all batteries bearing it are manufactured in China. The code identifies a specific production batch, 100,000 batteries at a time, and every week another 100,000 identical batteries are produced and shipped worldwide. At first it feels like a dead end. There are 100,000 batteries out there just like these. Still, it is something. It is a place to begin. Agents fan out across Idaho north of Spokane, into southern Oregon, and west toward Seattle, carrying the code and trying to determine where these batteries are sold locally. At the same time, they cast a wide net for the fishing weights chosen as shrapnel. Each of the 128 weights carries a distinctive 1/4 ounce stamp. Agents and task force officers visit sporting goods stores, scanning shelves for anything matching. Special Agent Bryce Nolan, helping from Washington, D.C., takes the battery north to Colville. In a hardware store there, he finds a battery on the shelf bearing the exact same lot code. Nolan decides to push further and see what other components he can locate in local stores. He discovers a large retailer that carries fishing supplies. In the fishing aisle, he finds the precise weights sold in packs of 10. He is excited. Not only has he located the same batteries nearby, but he has also found fishing weights essentially identical to those inside the device. It is not a strong lead, yet it is their first real break in the investigation. Nolan requests the store's records of all fishing weight sales in the months leading up to the event. The manager returns with a printout of every transaction. To accumulate 128 weights, a buyer would have needed at least 13 packages. Most fishermen purchase only 1 or 2 at a time. In one instance, 6 packages were bought in a single transaction, and nothing else. A credit card receipt could have led straight to the bomber. Unfortunately, the purchase was made in cash. There is still hope the buyer appears on video. Nolan asks about surveillance cameras and requests footage from around that period. The answer is disappointing. The store's cameras had been out of service during the exact window of interest. There is no footage. Nolan's heart sinks. They had hoped video or a credit card record would identify the subject. Instead, the buyer paid cash and was never captured on camera. Luck once again favors the bomber. Every passing day and every evaporating lead increases the odds of another attack. The bomber knows this. He is counting on it. As the investigation presses forward, the FBI's strongest leads for identifying the Spokane bomber remain just out of reach. When Nolan reviews the full sales documentation, he notices a pattern. One transaction includes marshmallow fluff, vitamin D milk, and fishing weights, all paid in cash. Flipping back through the records from roughly the same short period, he finds similar food items purchased in cash. The same person appears to have visited the store multiple times within days, making several purchases. One of those transactions was paid with a debit card. That single debit card receipt delivers enormous value. It supplies the missing link, a suspect named Derek Harlan. With a name in hand, the next step is a deep dive into who Derek Harlan really is, his online life, finances, associates, and prior history. That examination reveals activity on a white separatist, anti-black, anti-Jewish website called Vanguard News Network. Investigators tie him to the site, where he posted under his real name twice and under the moniker Joe Snuffy more than 750 times. They learn he served in the Army and was stationed at Fort Lewis. He was active in the National Alliance, a white supremacist, white separatist movement. By trade, he is an electrician. He lives on a small parcel of land he owns in Addy, Washington, a quiet town south of Colville, on a 10-acre lot where he built his own house. He has never been married. He has no known associates and no girlfriend. He fits the profile of a classic loner and lone wolf offender. He spent roughly 3 years in the Army. His high entrance scores marked him as intelligent, and his military background likely gave him some familiarity with explosive devices. On the Vanguard News Network, he spoke openly about owning weapons and stockpiling them. He owns an AK-47 and a handgun and expressed intent to stockpile ammunition and food. Harlan's online footprint paints the picture of a worst-case scenario, a man accumulating an arsenal and food stores in preparation to survive a siege. He raises major red flags for the agents, yet one persistent doubt remains. There is still no evidence placing him at the parade itself. No security footage shows him. No one has called in his name as a suspect. He has never been arrested or contacted by law enforcement. There is nothing in any file on Derek Harlan. Agents begin to wonder whether they have the wrong person, whether they simply have a man who happened to buy fishing weights. At that moment, that is all they truly have. They need a way to connect Harlan to the fingerprint and DNA evidence recovered from the bomb. They have a print from the device. They know from their investigation that Harlan served in the military. They request his military fingerprints. The prints taken when Harlan entered the Army come back unreadable. It is a setback, but the DNA sample remains. Nearly every service member provides a DNA sample upon entering the military. The odds of obtaining that sample are slim to none. Don't even bother, agents are told. They don't release samples. It's only happened twice in Army history. They refuse to accept no for an answer. The FBI turns to the U.S. Attorney's Office for assistance. The Department of Justice takes the request before a federal judge. Agents draft and file an application for a court order from a U.S. District Court judge requesting disclosure of the sample. With the court order in hand, the Department of Defense ultimately agrees to release it to the FBI. An agent retrieves the sample from the laboratory in Maryland and drives it immediately to Quantico, Virginia. Soon after, they have a match. Derek Harlan's DNA matches the DNA found on the handle of the backpack that contained the IED. Upon hearing the news, the room fills with elation. They have their subject. Now they know exactly who he is. The question shifts from who is he to how do we safely take him into custody? FBI agents disguised as a road crew maintain round-the-clock surveillance on Derek Harlan. We have court orders for pen registers on his telephone, an agent explains, so we can see the numbers he's calling in and out. We also have a pen register on his IP address so we can see the websites he's visiting. They have no intention of arresting him at his cabin. Everything they know about Harlan indicates he is prepared for exactly this day. He has readied himself for a prolonged siege, and history is filled with tragic loss of life when law enforcement attempts to extract heavily armed individuals from such positions. What you don't want to do is take them where they feel safe, an agent says. We want to get him out of that location. We want to get him on a ruse, maybe in his vehicle parked somewhere, maybe walking to a store. Make it safe for us and safe for him. Luring him out of his fortified home and into the open will not be easy, but the agents are determined to find a way. Through surveillance, they learn Harlan is attempting to purchase a vehicle he apparently plans to use to leave the area for a while until things cool down. The team decides to create their own advertisement and see whether Harlan responds. Playing every angle, the FBI posts for sale ads for an SUV, a truck, and a station wagon. From his Vanguard News Network posts, they know Harlan is extremely frugal, so they set the prices low, listing the station wagon at $1,500. They have set the perfect trap. If he takes the bait, they have enlisted the FBI's most elite tactical unit, the hostage rescue team, to help execute the takedown. HRT operators set up posing as construction workers. They borrow heavy equipment, uniforms, and hard hats from Stevens County. Approximately 15 HRT operators work the site in plain view. A second group of fully armed HRT agents waits hidden and ready nearby. Only one road leads out of the area. When Harlan stops at the construction site, the agents will swarm his vehicle. First, however, they must get him out of the house. A state of emergency is in effect. A known bomber is holed up inside his home. The hostage rescue team is on scene and in position. The footprint is large, though the operators remain subtle. Still, with so many people present, the longer they stay, the greater the risk of arousing Harlan's suspicion. With a tactical strike team lying in wait, FBI agents work anxiously to lure the extremely dangerous bombing suspect out of his armory-like house. So far, he has not responded to the fake advertisement. The fear is that they may ultimately have to extract him from the residence itself. After some time, Harlan finally responds to the advertisement and begins negotiating the purchase of the vehicle. An agent posing as Nancy, the owner, calls him in response to his email and records the conversation. "I would be able to look at it tomorrow?" Harlan asks. "Oh yeah, that would be great," Nancy replies. "I work tomorrow, but I can slip out probably around mid-morning. Would that be okay with you?" "That would probably work." Nancy does an excellent job engaging him. It becomes clear he is interested in the car. The team also notices that Harlan seems like a lonely man. He wants to keep talking to Nancy, chatting about the vehicle and other small topics. Everyone feels a surge of cautious excitement that the ruse appears to be working. With Harlan committed, the hostage rescue team reviews the precise details of the takedown plan. The fake construction crew will block the road ahead of him while another vehicle boxes him in from behind. A small explosive charge will create a distraction, allowing the armed tactical unit to swarm the car. The goal is a quick, clean resolution that keeps everyone safe. The following day, team members are in position and on high alert as Harlan emerges from his house and begins driving down the mountainside. What if he figures this out ahead of time? An agent wonders. What if he decides that when he reaches the contact point, he's armed and chooses to engage them in a firefight? That would put both FBI agents and Harlan at serious risk. Tension fills the morning air. No one knows whether Harlan is armed or what preparations he has made for the meeting. They simply watch him descend the mountainside into the waiting arms of the hostage rescue team. As Derek Harlan drives past the site, agents block the road with a vehicle. At the same time, an HRT operator in a front loader moves in behind him, boxing him in. "Roll your window down, sir," an agent calls out. "Hey, listen, it's going to be a while before we can get this mess cleaned up right here. So if you don't mind, go ahead and turn the car off for me." The situation erupts in controlled violence. "No, move! Freeze! Out of the car! Let's go! Give me the other arm now! Do not move! You understand?" Agent Battle and another agent approach the vehicle and recover a loaded .38 handgun from under the seat. A loaded AR-15 rests in the trunk along with several $1,000s in cash, money Harlan apparently intended to use to purchase the station wagon. With the suspect in custody, agents search his home and uncover evidence that conclusively links him to the Unity Parade bomb. They find a pipe that matches the one used in the device, along with matching wiring. They recover the box for the remote car starter and the second key fob. They also find books on white supremacy, including volumes on Adolf Hitler and other violent white extremists. The search team discovers a digital camera. One agent notices there are no digital photographs remaining on it. They send the camera to the lab. Technicians are able to retrieve deleted photographs. The images show Harlan at the Unity Day Parade. He has become his own eyewitness. The team feels ecstatic. Even with Harlan's DNA and evidence of him purchasing the fishing weights, they had still lacked proof that he was actually present at the march that day. One photograph is especially haunting. an image of an African-American family, children arranged in front of a statue of an astronaut. In a perverse way, Harlan was photographing his intended prey, capturing what appears to be a trophy image of people he very likely planned to kill with his device. The photograph captures the essence of the man's evil. Using the photos as reference, agents locate Harlan on surveillance footage recovered from the march. The evidence continues to mount. Once Derek Harlan is in custody and his name is released to the press, a farmer in Colville contacts investigators. He owns a gravel pit roughly a mile from Harlan's property. In the period before the planned attack, he found evidence suggesting someone had attempted to detonate a bomb there. An evidence response team from Seattle processes the scene. They recover several items, including wiring that matches the device, an egg timer, and a bottle of explosive fluid bearing Derek Harlan's name. The FBI understands it is essential to show a jury just how lethal Harlan's bomb would have been. Words alone will not suffice. Specialists at Quantico create a controlled demonstration. They build several devices to scale using the exact same components. When the initiator delivers its spark to the black powder, it launches all 128 fishing weights at tremendous velocity toward the targets, a metal file cabinet and military-style targets. The weights penetrate completely through the steel file cabinet, exiting the far side. Human skin offers far less resistance than steel. The implications are clear. Agents watch the recorded explosion countless times. Each viewing brings the same profound sense of relief. The carnage that would have resulted had the device detonated in the middle of a parade filled with innocent people is almost beyond comprehension. Harlan knows he cannot overcome the overwhelming evidence against him. To avoid a potential life sentence, he pleads guilty to hate crime and terrorism charges. He is sentenced to 32 years in prison. For many of the agents involved, catching Derek Harlan, bringing him to justice, and holding him accountable represents a defining moment in their careers. It is an example of every element of the system working exactly as it should, flowing smoothly from beginning to end. It stands as a success story for the good guys. The real irony, one agent observes, is that Derek Harlan tried to disrupt the Unity Parade, hoping to frighten participants so badly they would never return. Instead, the opposite occurred. Every year since, the march has grown larger, drawing more participants. The agent himself is now one of those participants. The continued success of the Unity Parade remains a point of deep pride for the agents who worked tirelessly to bring Harlan to justice. It represents a genuine sense of accomplishment, removing a dangerous individual from the streets and helping keep an entire community safe. Though the agent did not march in the year of the attempted bombing, he has marched in every parade since, and he has done so proudly. It has been a deeply meaningful experience for him and for his family.